From now on. Well, then we put in doesn't matter. We should do more of this. Did you work out which side of the street the footpath's going on, Lewis?
Running. It's
Or is it running in front of the units on the other side of the road? Which side of the road is
on
the
the east,
footpath?
running north.
Still straight in.
Waiting, we've got two speakers. Waiting for them to come.
Which side is Church Street? That's it. 96.
Normal house box, everybody was something like house box. Which are windows. See on the corner. That's all.
Welcome, gentlemen. Item 6, planning application to use land for a restricted recreation facility of the fitness centre at 4143 Church Street, Benalla. We have 2 speakers.
Sure.
And Troy, we'll give you 3 minutes to appear at ballot.
No worries at all. Hi everyone, I'm Troy Spencer, I'm a town planning consultant, and I've been engaged by James Mawson to speak on his behalf. I've been out to the site and had a look after the application had already been made, and I was able to review the objections and provide a written response to those objections, which I did. I guess from my experience and my ability as a town planner, the first thing I did when I went out to the site is look to see whether or not it was, a viable proposal, and to look at what the former uses of the property were. I was familiar with working in this region in Benalla for a few years, what the previous uses have been. So I knew that they already had quite a lot of, or some history in terms of what sort of traffic and vehicles have been there in the past, and as a tyre service and also as a bulk shop. They both had different types of uses, but different levels of traffic flow. I looked at the application being put forward and found that there was only a certain number of people who were able to go to the property at any given time under a system that was to be done on an app, which instantly gave me an opportunity to work out what a parking rate should or shouldn't be. I did that and found that there was adequate parking and located, deciding and providing with a plan to show where that parking can go, including some spaces for the employees all on site. We didn't go into the traffic outside of that site because the former uses already had a credit, which was far greater than the amount of car spaces that were proposed. And we assumed that the original parking bay that's directly out the front, that's set aside for loading and unloading, was probably put there for the original business, which was the tyre service. So there wasn't really, there is an opportunity to have it on site, but there's already one there that's 15-minute loading and unloading bay. So you know, some of the other issues weren't, you know, not, we wouldn't consider them valid planning grounds. We did still did touch on the fact that there's obviously the building has some acoustic level material inside it already. It's got some internal walls that are made of best brick and the like. So, you know, for the use that it was from the beginning, they would have had to, council and then would have had to consider the offsite amenity impacts that was there, going to be there for those businesses anyway. You know, there's an opportunity to put conditions on a planning permit now and change it if it's needed, this planning permit. But we'd say that from what we've read from the agenda item, that what put in there satisfactory. Thank you.
We're not time. Are there any questions for Troy? Yes, councillor.
So like, I don't want to hear it.
Madam Chair, through the chair, thanks for your presentation. Just with regards to the development, things are always good things. For those who want to use it. This particular development, how many employees could you kind of indicate how many that would be jobs going there, and possibly how many would be coming from Bell?
My understanding of reading the application is that there would be a maximum of 4 at any given time that were staff. They might not all be there at the same time, but there was certainly an indication that 4 was the total. There's also a maximum of 14 people there at any given time. Through a system where they had to do it. Weren't allowed to be more than that. And it's not that, and the people that were there, there's going to be someone there permanently. So when they came in, if they're coming outside of their booking, they obviously told to come either the book or to leave, come back at another time. So it's not a 24-hour gym. It's a gym that's set for a different type of customer.
And the employees, are they going to look for them from local area?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you about that. I know that James is from this region, so he's originally from Euroa. He's got another couple of gyms. He's got one in Wang, one in Shepard. So Vanilla is on his radar, but Euroa's on his radar as well. I assume that he's also has employees in each of those towns, and probably from the towns that they're in. I guess that would be probably the way to go.
Thank you.
Councillor Davis.
Thanks, Troy, and welcome back.
Thanks, man.
Good to see you. My question is, you just said to Councillor Firth, it's a different gym. It's got a different clientele base. Can you just elaborate on that a bit? Do you know?
Yeah.
If it's a different gym, how is it different to a normal gym that I don't attend?
I guess not being an expert, because I don't attend either. But the thing is with it, when I asked him the same question, is that he does have that opportunity to provide those sort of services in some instances. But he thinks that that's already available here. And what he really wanted to do is cater for some people who really wanted less people around and more one-on-one. And that's why he didn't want to also go outside of the normal business hours. So it's catering for people like me who might need help, I guess, rather than someone that goes there by themselves.
Thanks.
Councillor Barrett.
Thank you. Troy, I know that there's they're probably existing toilets that are there. Are they sufficient for the type of operation that's going to happen?
Look, I think when, I don't know how many pans that you're meant to have, but given that it's sewered, and given that there is opportunity to have, if there's at least 2, you could assume that it would be adequate in terms of 14 people. It's not like they're dining or anything there, so it's probably less of a need than it would be at a restaurant or something like that. That's a really good question. I'm not sure if I can answer that, but I would suggest that 2 would be, you would assume would be fine.
I just imagine if I was a gym, I'd probably need the toilet straight away out.
Well, that's the thing too, though, that perhaps because there is 2, that might be, that's probably the right amount of people for 2.
Any other questions? Thanks very much, Troy.
Thank you.
Scott.
Yes.
You know the go.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Mr Mayor, councillors, CEO and Royal City staff. As I'm the only objector here this evening, I'll make it short, sharp and brief. Whilst I'm not opposed to the venture coming next door to us, I think it's exciting that there's a new business wishing to relocate and come to Benalla. Again, what I would like to highlight is the ongoing issue and concern with parking that is our CBD. Currently, I'll take an objection to whoever was the author of the document, and I'll ask you to go to page 58, my correction. So, second last paragraph, based on the provision of the planning scheme, the purpose use will have less impact to the on-street parking than the previous use on this site. I find that factually incorrect, because the timings that are indicated on there are 5:15 p.m. and 6:15 p.m. So hypothetically, they've indicated that they're going to have 10 people at any one time. So given previously the Northeast Artisans, they'd be lucky if they had 10 cars a week, let's be honest. Then we go back to the bottle shop that was located there. They actually had all their parking on site. So if you're familiar with the area as such there, that wire cage didn't exist. The bottle shop parking was on site and it had 14 car parks on site. So it could sustain those people in and out. And also those businesses traded for 8 hours a day. We're talking about a small window of opportunity here where at 5:15, which is a busy period in town, it is peak hour for movement, traffic management through that area. Hypothetically tonight, I went to my gym at 5:15, so I could count the number of vacant car parks in Carrier Street, and there was one, and that was out front of the chiropractor. Up until Gumnuts, there was no vacant car parks there. So, and there was 10 car parks in my gym. So I've got the provision to support and take overload of parking. So at the moment, I act as a sort of a overflow car park for the doctors, Gumnuts, the chiropractor and the vet, which I'm happy to do because I'm prepared to do the heavy lifting to support the whole community. At the moment though, if they're going to take 10 cars in at 5:15, historically group fitness classes will go for about an hour, then they're going to take another 10 cars at 6:15, they're going to egress and ingress through one driveway, all of a sudden you've got a traffic management issue. So all I'm asking tonight is not opposed, and there's some really good recommendations in there, but what I'd ask is some consideration and some deliberation on how we can either increase the parking, can we make that loading zone, actually get rid of it and actually put that into some form of herringbone car park, or on Carrier Street there, where the driveway is, there is actual space just prior to get the roundabout, there's one car park there, can we put another car park there? So there are opportunities there. So again, not opposed, but I think we need to look at increasing the parking that is available there for consumers in Carrier Street. Because we'll get to a point where if I determine that there is significant impact on my business, I'll put a boom gate in front of my business. I've spoken to my landlord and he's happy to do that, where I only allow members of my facility, and that will pose an impact on the whole of Carrier Street. I don't want to do that because I'm happy to contribute, but again, everyone needs to contribute, just not myself. And also, Madam Chair, brief extension if I may.
Yes, you can. Oh, Councillor.
I'm also a little bit excited that I may have a tenant next door because that'll enable Mr Yates to have some money to pay for the repairs for the water damage that is occurring with his wall that adjoins mine, because the water pools there due to the fact that he's not slightly determined that it's not necessary to fix the damage or to help me out. So I look forward to someone being there that I can take my complaint to and forward that to Mr Yates, because he's yet to do anything as of this point in time. So that excites me on another level. So, and I wish the applicant was actually here tonight because he could hear what type of building he's about to inherit. All right, thank you, Madam Chair.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Ox. Has anyone got any questions? Oh, really?
Through the chair.
Councillor O'Brien?
Yeah, thanks Scott, that was great to hear that, and the enthusiasm in your voice is obvious. But I'm just thinking about the parking that you mentioned. So is that parking, are those people long-term parking, or are they just drop off, pick up children, things like that from Gumnuts, which is just down from you? Or are they there for a longer period of time, and that's why the parking issue has such an impact for you?
Okay, so I'll take this in two parts. Councillor O'Brien, the Gumnuts parking is essentially from say 7:30 in the morning till 9:30. That is like Flinders Street, obviously, because partners, mums, dads, etc. are coming and going. So quite often that's a fleeting in and out. But there's a lot of vehicle movements, mums and dads backing up, etc., etc. So that's early in the morning. And similar again, that peak gets from the evening, which is about sort of say 1600 through to about 18:30 is again that very brief drop off, pick up and go sort of stuff. So again, if you're looking at the time proposed for the group fitness classes, in the AM that's fine, but that PM I think is going to be the point where there needs to be some sort of consideration to additional parking being made available. I mean, you look at the facility there, they've got this huge black wire cage out the front. If all of their activities are going to occur inside the building, what would be wrong with making a provision or an additional recommendation that they remove that down so then they could actually absorb all their parking on site? So it wouldn't actually have an impact. So similar to what I do with my gym, I can have 50 cars on site if required. So again, but again, I'm disappointed the chiropractor's got here because she can talk about the impact that it has on her business. And she actually wants a handicap spot, which I would be really good if we could negotiate a couple of car parks on my side, put a handicap spot on hers for her clients.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Madam Chair, Mr. Mayor, and for councillors for your time.
Item 6, planning. Oh, hang on. Oh, and now we just have the CEO is going to read from Michelle Lloyd, the chiropractor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just I have a written statement this evening from Michelle Lloyd, chiropractor in Carrier Street. So I wish to address my concerns to Council directly, but unable to attend meeting dated February 3rd, 2021 due to work commitments. My concerns are that tribal gym will, 1, affect car park space availability. Tribal gym participants commonly park in front of my business. Patients often remark that at particular times of the day which correspond to gym classes, finding park does become difficult. Add to this a doctor's surgery 2 houses down from my business, a vet clinic 2 houses the other side from me, plus a busy childcare centre. Competition is common as car space is limited. Please note, many of my patients are in pain, elderly and have young children, and as such require parking close to my practice. Adding another business compounds this issue further. Item 2, noise. Being a member of Tribe in Wangaratta, classes can involve exercises outside and conducting classes with doors open, so music will be played to accompany this. I have concerns about the volume and how it may impact on private residents and other businesses surrounding the premises. While I would welcome to Benella being a member myself, I question whether the location of 41 to 43 Church Street is the wrong location.
Thank you very much. Joel, would you like to take us to item 6, please?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I present to the Planning and Development Committee planning application to use the land for a restricted recreation facility, being a health and fitness centre at 4143 Church Street, Benalla. The proposal will have the following characteristics. The facility will provide for group classes not exceeding 10 participants with 1 coach. The proposal will also provide for personal one-on-one training and nutrition consults. There may be up to 2 coaches and 1 admin on site in addition to the group classes. All activities on the site are by appointment only, and the facility will not be open to the public to walk up the street. Group classes will run at the times of 6 AM, 9:15 AM, 5:15 PM, and 6:15 PM. Music will be played within the existing building. The proposal will utilise the existing building and will not require building works to be undertaken. Car parking for the site will be provided to within the rear northeast corner of the site for staff, and 5 car spaces on Church Street. The proposal has been advertised and 4 objections have been received. The issues raised within the objections are outlined on page 55 of the report, and generally relate to noise impact and provision for on-site parking. The main issue with this proposal is on-street parking provision. Any lack of car spaces on the site will enhance pressure in the surrounding road network for on-street car parking. In accordance with clause 5206 of the Benalla Planning Scheme, the proposal will result in a reduction in on-site parking demand from the previous use. The original retail use generated a parking demand of 14 car spaces, whilst the proposed use generates a parking demand of 5 car spaces. The proposal will therefore, under the regulations, have less impact on-street parking than the previous use of the site. The recommendation is on pages 60 to 62 of the report.
Are there any questions, John? Councillor Davis.
Thanks, John. Joel, parking has come up a couple of times tonight, a few times tonight, and I used to live in that area. And all of a sudden now it's been increased by a bus stop. We often have 2 buses parked there at one time at 8 o'clock in the morning. And also we've got